I've never seen you look like this without a reason. Another promise fallen through. Another season passes by you. I never took the smile away from anybody's face. And that's a desperate way to look for someone who is still a child. In a big country, dreams stay with you. Like a lover's voice fires the mountainside. Stay alive. Here we go.
Hello, welcome to the This Are Johnny Domino podcast, a self-referential and entertaining music-based podcast by two brothers, Giles and Steve Woodward, in which they discuss music, what they recorded back in the day, and talk about it and the memories that arise therewith and thereon.
We explore our music and our relationship to music.
And our relationship to each other, let's be honest.
In the past, the present, and the future. Is that right?
That's all right. That's
on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Those lyrics really did make me laugh because it surprised me when the chorus kicked in.
They're good lyrics, aren't they? Good lyrics.
Quite deep.
Yeah. So what was it?
It was In a Big Country by Big Country, obviously.
Yeah, I've got to make a point here, though, that, through the strata of time since we've ever been doing this podcast, you, Stephen, have been editing out all of my Big Country content every few episodes, really. I seem to mention it. And does it ever get in? I mean, I know you've got the final edit on the podcast, but you can't edit that out.
Off the top of my head, I'm completely unaware of editing out any Big Country content. I don't know if you're just trolling me with your little editing comments. Where you make out that I've cut things out.
That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Yeah, it's, come on.
Just stop it.
Alternative facts here.
Oh.
Anyway, I've been in a big country.
Oh, where would that be, Giles?
I've been at the US of Trump, as I think they've called it now. I went to New York. In fact, I've written a short report. Would you like me to read it to you, Steve, and listeners?
I would very much like you to read me this report. Thank you.
New York City, in fact, in February, was a wonderful place. Bright, clear and cold, looking like a gigantic glass stone and metal forest. We stayed in the Bowery. It was up and coming, in a trendy, art-filled hotel across the road from restaurant supply shops and next to a homeless shelter. In an area where every surface, other than the roads and the windows, was covered in graffiti stickers and homemade posters. We did all the stuff, and just before we went home, we walked up the road to see the site of the punk rock and new wave home and originating site, CBGB's, the legendary bar where the Ramones did their first gig, and where Talking Heads and Blondie and Television found their first audience. They all played there. It's no longer a club, but it's a branch of John Vavatos, a luxury men's lifestyle brand that sells high-end fashion using rock aesthetics. It's basically a sort of clothes that you might see Chris Hemsworth or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Jude Law wearing.
Yeah.
The belts were $400. The place was done out in a rock style with fake racks of real records that weren't for sale and like really, really fancy guitars and drum kits sort of strewn about the place to make it look cool. The board's sales assistant quickly ascertained that we weren't there to buy anything and explained that everything was props and that the only original feature was a section of wall covered in ripped posters that had been preserved behind a glass screen It was a bit like a section of Roman mosaic.
Mm.
And there was also a black and white photo of how the stage used to look. I stared at it for a while, and two young women who had entered the shop after us stood next to me looking. And I said, "This is the only original feature. And over there's a photo of how the stage was." And she said, "Wow." And then we left the shop, and then I realised that they were members of the band Haim.
Excellent. And you mansplained CBGBs to them.
They didn't know. It's the first time they'd been in there.
How do you know?
Well, they were looking around like with their eyes wide open and their mouths open.
Right.
That was it. It was kind of a bit disappointing, really.
Yes.
The CBGB's bit, but the rest of New York was really good.
Cool.
Anyway, I'm back. So this episode, we've got a number of songs to listen to. And the first one is a song that is from way back in the olden days. And it is a song called Fish. And we've got to listen to this in response to the overwhelming demand and clamour that we've had, really, of fans of The Usual Rosie. Because we played them a few episodes ago, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And The Usual Rosie were a band that we were in a long time ago.
Yeah.
College days, really. I can't remember. Were they after the Millers or before the Millers?
They were before the Millers. They were
the usual Space Rat. After Space Rat.
So we had,
that's it.
You really do need to do a family tree. You need to. I personally would love it.
No.
You know, my birthday will be coming in a couple of months, and you can do that for me. That'd be great.
Okay, all right.
It was the Lovelies into Space Rat into The Usual Rosie, Usual Rosie into the Millers.
Got you. And
there
then
you go.
Johnny Domino.
Pretty much.
Okay. So, yeah, The Usual Rosie. It's a sound that speaks to young people today, I think, in this dystopian Trumpian wilderness. And it's kind of coming forth from an echo of the late 80s. And I think they can relate to it. I think it's authentic. So, you know, who are these fans? Who are they?
I think you just wanted to play it because you think it's funny.
Or has Andy been in touch?
He hasn't, has he?
No.
Thank God for that.
The world's a better place. Just switch off television set and go and do something less boring instead. Why can't I get the words out of my head? So much to do, so little time. I'll be seeing the price. time. Have you seen the price? It's no fucking crime. Things to do, save time. Have you seen the price of fish?
You called me an asshole.
I don't think that's me calling you an asshole. I don't think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Andy.
Somebody was calling me an asshole.
It was Andy. I wouldn't call you an asshole.
No.
I might
Wouldn't
do
you?
now, but I wouldn't have done
You'd prefer you'd use the word dick or something, or twat,
or something
I
like
think,
that.
but
Yeah,
not asshole.
possibly.
Yeah. Somebody's calling me an asshole. Someone's always calling me an asshole, let's face it.
It's one of the eternal truths.
Yeah.
Yep, that was The Usual Rosie. God, it's quite something, isn't it? I listened to it the other day, and weirdly, it was actually an old song. It's a really old song. It wasn't written by The Usual Rosie. It was an old Space Rat song.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, really old, even
Yes.
older than old.
Yeah, it stood the test of time.
And for some reason, we decided to keep it going, even though it's incredibly static. You're doing your kind of washy guitar bit, and I'm doing the same thing on the keyboards.
Yeah.
So there's very little going on. It's weird.
I think we were trying to be psychedelic.
Well, I did write a little note, and I said, someone's been learning about Eastern scales, and that's me. I've been learning about Eastern scales in my GCSE at that point, I think, which kind of dates it. It's obviously sort of 1989 when we were doing it. So I was probably just finishing my GCSEs.
Yeah.
And I was very keen on playing the little Eastern scaly things. And yes, very strange.
I quite enjoyed it, actually. I mean, you've got to get into its own little universe of what it is. But, I can see there's some good points there. I mean, you talk about the washy guitars. I mean, that's like, I'm literally doing all that I can do.
No, but
because I have no other tricks.
No, but it works. It does work.
Yeah.
I think this particular song is the best of a bad bunch.
Dear.
I think of the 4-track demo that we recorded at the Canning Factory with Dave Chang.
Yeah.
I think that was the best song that we did. So it's interesting that it's so old.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it always used to go all right when we played it as Space Rat, when we used to play with Jock on the drums. Hi there, Jock.
Yeah.
And it's been my first psychedelic raga track.
Yeah. And then, obviously the lyrics are kind of, I find the lyrics quite funny. Don't you? I
do.
I mean, I don't think they're intentionally funny, but sometimes that's the best kind of funny, really. We're doing a bit of the old magpieing because there's a clear reference to Why Don't You, the famous BBC television series. Andy says, why don't you just switch off your television set and go and do something less boring instead, which was a well-known phrase to people of our age, for sure. And it was encouraging young people, a program encouraging young people to play games and make things and go on days out rather than watch TV. It had a good theme tune. An absolute cracking theme tune, didn't it, Steve?
It certainly did. Insert.
That was quite a rock and roll theme tune, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
That was probably one of the first pieces of rock and roll that's the origin of like my interest in rock and roll.
That can't be true.
The Why Don't You theme. I think Andy probably liked it too. I think Andy wrote most of these lyrics. I think it was a collaboration. So much to do, so little time. Have you seen the price of fish? What's he saying there? What kind of comment are we making here?
I think he's just trying to write some words. I think he's just trying to fill some gaps. I think that's all it is.
I don't know. I think he's making a comment about the state of the world.
You think? I do remember when we brought the demo home and he played it to his parents. His mum was really cross about the swearing, the frankly unnecessary swearing.
Yeah, but it's a very kind of like it's not like a very full-bodied swear, is it? It's more like, you know.
Do you think he knew he was going to eventually play it to his mum, and he didn't want to lean into it?
Yeah, he didn't want to lean into it too much, so he held back a little bit with that. But yeah, I like that, and obviously, it's clearly another example of this, or Johnny Domino digging into the juvenilia. Once again, hopefully, we're prompting our listeners not to be scared. Look, I mean, we're doing this. We're playing a ridiculous song from our youth, so that we can all have a bit of a laugh, and we want to keep doing it. But it would be nice if you you might want to join in too. So if you've got like a song from your earliest bands, maybe on a bit of tape somewhere, share it with us, and we can all enjoy it in a nice, warm, cuddly, fuzzy way, and we can listen to it. And you might even end up in the eternal halls of the 4-track gods.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because we haven't had anything for a while from people's back pages, and I know people are sitting on it, and I know people are and they're shy. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, what? We want it. Yeah. We want it.
Yeah, we do. And you know what? Steve's got a tape deck, so if you've got a tape deck, I can't digitize it. I've just got it on tape. Well, post it to us, right?
Yeah.
And Steve could digitize it, and then we'll send it you back, right?
There literally are no excuses.
There are no excuses.
There are no barriers whatsoever to engaging with us on this particular engagement opportunity. And we do like listening to other people's stuff, especially if it's interesting and or funny, then we just dig it.
We do. And Andy hasn't really been in touch. But he might do.
Maybe we should, maybe we should put a call out for him. See if we can find.
I'm doing it. I want to see Andy. I want to find his view on this stuff. We're playing his stuff, so I'd like to talk to him about what he thinks about it. I'd like his perspective.
Yes, I think that's fair. Yes, definitely.
As we've said, it didn't end particularly well with the usual Rosie.
Well, there wasn't a big bust up. It's just we didn't handle it particularly well, did we? It was just one of those things, and it was like, oh, let's just stop doing it. And we rang him, but anyway, it was fine. We were very young and a bit callow and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that was our first time in an actual recording studio. So, you were playing your guitar, and we had a bit of delay on the guitar at the end. Very nice. And it was probably his first time hearing his voice as well. Yeah. And that's got to be nerve-wracking. Because when we played live, he wasn't a shouter, but that was quite a hushed delivery compared to some other recordings I've got of it.
Yeah. But as you said, Dave Chang
did
a very good job of recording it. I remember Dave Chang very clearly. He had impressively long hair.
Well, interestingly, if you remember, the last time we played The Usual Rosie, we mentioned Dave Chang, and our mate Tom Von Vorten, Large Pony, got in touch and said Dave Chang was in a band with Tom's uncle.
Oh, great.
And they were called Inconsequential Belly Button Fluff.
Oh.
And I did a bit of digging around, and I found a page on Facebook for Inconsequential Belly Button Fluff, And I do remember, look, there's like a picture of a tape that they had. And I remember him talking about a song that they got called Atom Bomb, Drop It On Me. And that's on the tape.
Cool.
Yeah.
But there's no actual music on that site, is there? So we can't hear
there
it,
isn't. No,
annoyingly.
no.
But I remember Dave at the time mentioning the fact that it was in a kind of a comedy band.
That song title really sticks in my head.
That would be a great band to hear on this podcast. But can we dig it up? Can somebody make some sort of weird contact with an uncle, perhaps?
Well, as Tom mentions, he's got a copy of their live album, but sadly the band ended acrimoniously when Tom's uncle stole Dave's girlfriend. Oh. So I'm not sure how burnt those particular bridges are, so we'll see.
We've all been there.
Have we?
You know.
Oh, you probably have.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about the Johnny Domino podcast, but I gave it a chance, and now I think I love it.
Speaking of engagement opportunities, as we were with the 4-track gods, we are currently running, we're running many engagement opportunities.
There's loads.
There's so many.
Mainly to keep ourselves engaged.
Yeah, keep us interested. And one of them is all about product placement. You had an idea to go for the marketing dollar, mention some product placement, try and get some of that sweet marketing money heading to us. And we've done one.
We have, yeah. So we're going to play you our product placement song in a second. But yeah, definitely, you could have a go at writing one. You know, you could pick anything.
Yeah.
Right. You could any product. But yeah, let's do it. It's a fun thing. We've chosen something that we all use, and we're thinking about our target audience, aren't we, Steve, of the Johnny Domino, our Johnny Domino podcast?
Yeah. Men of a certain age who are a bit stressed. They suffer with heartburn and digestive problems and used to listen to bands like the Pixies.
Exactly. So, you know, imagine an advert, Steve, you know.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of middle-aged guys with glasses and grey hair, probably beard, possibly bald.
Hair.
Yeah, possibly bald, yeah, possibly totally bald, right? Hanging out and watching music in a field, perhaps. Yeah, having fun, arms around each other.
Having a drink.
Round a campfire, having a drink, drinking out of cans, drinking out of plastic cups, eating expensive fast food out of caravans.
Or dodgy fast food out of a caravan.
Yeah. Well, dodgy, expensive fast food.
Yeah.
And then, oof. Getting a bit of indigestion. Oh, see the look on his face. Oh, it's not fun. But then, to the rescue, it's Gaviscon. Double action, fast relief for indigestion. And what kind of music would this advert have, Steve? You're right. It would be kind of a bit Pixies-ish, wouldn't it? Right? To fit with the target audience.
Absolutely.
It would be maybe a bit Nick Cave, yeah? A bit lo-fi. Maybe with some heartfelt lyrics about feeling a bit insecure in your relationship with your lady.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is our song, Gaviscon, double action. Music and lyrics, Giles Woodward and Stephen Woodward. Hey, companion, I'm talking to you. Disregard the reels for now. I'm talking to you. I ain't moaning, but the friction we created, it is leaving me with heartburn and frustrated. Gaviscon, double action, fast relief from indigestion and heartburn. Companion, I've got it on my sleeve. It's a symbol for openness, so wear it on my sleeve. It is aching, it is burning, it is broken, it's a warning. Do you have a cue that's forming? Gaviscon, double action, fast relief from indigestion. I think we cracked it there, Steve.
I'm interested to know if anybody feels the immediate need to go out and buy some Gaviscon, or at least adding it to your next home delivery shopping cart.
Yeah, I've already got some. I'm always well stocked up. Did you enjoy that?
I did.
I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, I had fun.
It was fun doing that, wasn't it?
I mean, that's a bit of music that I wrote ages ago, and I recorded it as a, in inverted commas, proper Johnny Domino song.
What are you talking about, man?
No, but you know what I mean? It's kind of...
What are you talking about, Willis?
I'm not, sorry. But it was one of the first bits of music I made up after I got my acoustic guitar back off you.
Yeah.
Because I remember playing it at a time when there was no tuning peg on one of the strings. And I remember thinking, I must get that tuning peg sorted, then I can tune his guitar in properly.
But it doesn't come across in the recording. I think it sounds very good. I like the guitar very much. The
Very
electric
enjoyable.
guitar, especially. The electric guitar is very good.
A little bit loud possibly on that mix I just did.
No, I don't think so. I think you sound like you're making the guitar eat itself there, which is quite good.
There you go. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's got indigestion, that guitar.
Yeah. I've actually been annoying the women that I live with, my wife and daughter, not multiple wives. And
he's not a Mormon.
No, but I've been annoying them by walking around singing the chorus.
Well, yeah.
It is great. It's a great chorus.
Okay, well, it's I took it straight off the packet, dude.
Hey, there's some good words. We're magpieing, but I think are we going to send it to Gaviscon?
Yeah, I think we perhaps should.
I think
so. I'm going to have to work on composing that letter.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big pharmaceutical company. I did look, but I can't remember the name of it now. But I think it's based in Slough, and we can just send it to somebody there and say, "Come on, think about your target audience." There,
we're big fans. Big fans of your product. Couldn't
this be a good advert? They're going to pick up quite a lot from advertising on this podcast.
Yeah,
our huge audience. So there you go. But yeah, get involved and write a song that is endorsing a product that you perhaps use on a regular basis. And you can have it played on our podcast. Maybe we could make a whole album of product type songs.
I like
amazing. Let's do it.
That's a good idea. Right. Come on, Dad. Get the guitar out of the loft. Let's have some stuff.
It's time for the This Our Johnny Domino podcast. Time for some very obscure music. Giles and Steve will probably argue about something pointless. So yeah.
Time for a new feature on the podcast. In the previous episode, my brother asked if people would be willing to submit a jingle for a section where we talk about the Derby music scene. Ideally of the 90s when we were in the Derby music scene, but very much about the Derby music scene. And we did get a submission by our mate Wilbraham.
He's always the first in line, isn't he, that guy? I love that guy.
He's always there and he's submitted an absolute belter. We need to underline right now, though, this does not mean that this is the only jingle that can be used for this section. If anybody's got a hankering or a taste for wanting to submit a jingle, we will take anything.
Yeah, take this as a challenge. Yeah, could you write a better jingle for On the Derby music scene than this?
But you should know that the bar has been set quite high.
Well, they could be the judge of that.
On the 90s Derby scene, I just want to be seen. On the 90s Derby scene, where have you been? On the 90s Derby scene, I just want to be seen. What musical cuisine Steve and Giles are going to serve today?
And what musical cuisine are we going to serve today, Steve?
We are going to talk about a band called Twinkie. Talking about Twinkie was prompted by me finding a tape that came with a fanzine called Cato's Day Out. And it had songs on it by someone called Johnny Domino, Twinkie, and a band called Cato. Now, we did gigs with them.
We did loads of gigs with them. They were like our major gigging partners for a while.
Yeah.
I really liked them, actually, as a band. I kind of wanted to be in Twinkie, really.
Well, charming. They were really nice people. And I think possibly at that time we were almost like amongst the elders of the Derby music scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something about that, and people wanted us to do gigs with them, and we wanted to do more gigs, so we were happy to play at whatever anyone wanted us to play at. And so, as you say, we did a lot of gigs, mostly at the Loft/Warehouse in Derby, and we did quite a few gigs with Kato and Twinkie, and this is a song.
Well, describe to it. What were Twinkie like? What did you think about? What were Twinkie? What were Twinkie like?
What
Steve?
were Twinkie? I think there was something really English about them. They didn't take themselves too seriously.
They were noisy. They were very noisy, and they had dissonance and noise, and they were kind of punky, and they were pretty cool. They were quite exciting live, I thought.
They were exciting. They were pretty tight, definitely.
Yeah. So let's have a listen and see if listening to it jogs our memory to some more Twinkie memories. Abrasive.
Very Stooges.
Yes.
I was kind of surprised when I listened to it the other day how Stooge-like it was.
Yeah. Also, the dog is going mental in the back garden, or just downstairs. Actually, can you hear the dog?
Yeah,
I think they responded to Twinkie there.
Absolutely.
References I kind of got was kind of Pussy Galore a bit as well. That kind of New York noise thing, and. The thing I really liked about Twinkie, one of the things that set them apart from us, really, is they actually looked like a band.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Johnny Domino did not really look like a band ever. We just looked like a bunch of blokes that just kind of turned up. plugged in. But I think that Twinkie did look like a band, and they had an impressive lead singer.
Yeah.
He was quite a tall fellow.
Moo, as he will always be known, Moo.
Yeah, it's always good to have a tall lead singer, I think.
Yeah, and he had a massive Rickenbacker bass guitar.
He did.
And he's really got a great sound on that. The drums, the Pussy Galore thing is quite good because what I wrote down was cardboard box drums.
Yes.
They're very boxy recording that. They changed drummers, I think, eventually, and that is not. They had a drummer whose name was Elvis.
There you go.
And it was his name was Elvis. And
do you know what I mean? They were a band,
proper band. But I really like Debbie's vocal on that.
Yeah,
I really like Debbie's vocal. I like the sound, just kind of like wavering in the background. I love it.
It is out of tune, but that's the point, right? That's the
So
point.
what?
That's what I like about it. I like the out of tune singing.
Yeah,
you know, it's cool. That was a good one. I remember that one from doing gigs with them. I remember hearing that one definitely. My favourite song, though, I'd really like to play it at some point. Always known as "Malevolent Jew."
Yes,
amongst the Johnny Domino band, and that was I really thought that's what the song was.
Is it called "My Favourite Animal is the White Tiger"?
You're telling me it's not called Malevolent Jew?
No, it's not called Malevolent Jew because I think even back in the heady days of the everything's all sorted 1990s, I don't think that would have gone down amazingly well.
Okay, I thought they were being very edgy there, actually. But yeah, we'll have to listen to that one, and you could see where I'm getting that misunderstanding from.
Yeah,
maybe it was the sound system at the loft.
No, it did sound a bit like it. It did sound
right.
Like
it wasn't just me. Okay, Twinkie. What's Moo doing these days? Is he doing any music?
After Twinkie stopped doing Twinkie things, he went out as a solo performer under the name Dr. Coca-Cola McDonald, and yes, we will have to talk about him at some point. He was like a clown man in underpants, performing very feral, satirical songs with like electronic instruments, and he actually appeared on an early BBC Three comedy program.
Did he?
He was a returning performer on this comedy program, which was quite weird to see someone that you knew, someone whose wedding you went to, on the telly.
Wow.
Very peculiar. Twinkie, they were a good band. They did a live Peel session.
Did they?
In 2003. I was doing a bit of research on them because I knew they'd done a Peel session, and it was because they were on something called the 2 Minute Men single. And the 2 Minute Men was a 2x 7-inch compilation EP released in 2002 on the Johnson family label of indie band Stanton. And each track on the compilation was no more than 2 minutes long. When I heard that concept, I thought, I wish we'd known about that concept, or if we'd known the people who were doing that concept, because we'd been right into that. Because we did do a song which was for a compilation tape by our French mates at Candy Sherry. They wanted to do a compilation where every song was 60 seconds long.
Yeah, we're good at working within time limits.
Limits are good. Limitations are always good to work
Limits
within.
are good, yeah.
They did a couple of Peel sessions related to those singles, and the bands who performed had a set of 10 minutes, and they did a live set of 10 minutes.
That's cool.
And Twinkies is on YouTube.
Oh, wow. I want to watch that. Put that on the notes, Steve.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Remember, every episode we do always put together extensive notes and links, which you should have a look at because, it's kind of interesting.
And, we do them. And if no one's looking at them, it's kind of annoying.
It's entertainment for free.
Yes. One of the other bands who was on those 2 Minute Men single compilations, I think they did 2 of them. One of the other bands was a band called Hiramika Hi-Fi.
Oh, I've heard of them.
They were on Gringo Records. I think they're based in Nottingham, or were based in Nottingham. And we did a gig with them.
Oh, right, did we?
We did a gig with Hiramika Hi-Fi. And the only time that we performed the song Double Diamond, which was the song that we featured on the Cato's Day Out cassette, the only time we ever played that song live was when we supported Hiramika Hi-Fi.
Oh, I see. There you go. That's interesting. That's good because that's the song we're going to listen to next, isn't it?
Yes.
But before we leave the Derby scene, have you got any bands that you're thinking would be really good to feature in a future episode, Steve? Have you thought of any?
Well, think about the bands that we played with. We did quite a few gigs with a band called Laser Guided.
Super Creeps. I really want to hear some Super Creeps.
I know.
Man.
I need to get in touch with them.
Oh, there's loads. There's loads of bands. You're welcome to engage in this opportunity as well. Send a, if you were in a Derby band and we've forgotten about you, send us something.
Especially if we did loads of gigs with you.
Yeah, just prod us,
Yeah. As previously mentioned, the next song we're going to be talking about is a Johnny Domino song called Double Diamond. It was a song that we included on a 12-inch mini LP that was released in America by a man called, and this is a quality name, a man called Mike Landucci.
Mike Landucci.
And the label had a less quality name, which was Black Bean and Placenta Tape Club. So he ended up releasing this on a 12-inch vinyl record, and we only played it live once, and I remember why we only played it live once. Shall we play the song now?
Yeah, I think it's a good song. I listened to it the other day when I was walking the dog. I think it's a jerky proto-Britpop vibe, and it's unusually cohesive in its lyrics. Yeah, I think I remember what you were getting at there. It's about the hazards of playing with a drum machine, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a bit at the end when the drums drop out and you play the bass line and then Mark comes in on the acoustic guitar. And when we did it live, you obviously couldn't hear the hi-hat.
Blame it on the monitors.
Absolutely poor monitoring. What can we say? But
But it all
yeah, then
fell
when
to
the drums
bits.
came in, it all just fell apart. And yeah, I've just been looking back at my extensive notes, trying to find through the many, 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 many gigs that we played. We didn't play many gigs. It was at the Loft. According to this, it was in September 1998 that we played with Hiramika Hi-Fi.
Oh, yeah.
But that just doesn't seem right because I can't remember us playing that song that much.
Well, I don't know, man. I liked it. I think we should have played it more. I mean, I've listened to it again a couple of times,
Yeah.
and I'd listened to it for years. And actually, I think it's all right. Actually, it doesn't. That recording, particularly, put it politely, it doesn't sound over rehearsed.
No, I mean, there's a proper guitar flub on the lead guitar bit.
I quite like it.
I
There's some
completely
dodgy
missed
bass
the
playing.
strings.
There's some
I don't
dodgy
think-
bass playing. There's some bits that I can hear, but Jim's vocals are really good on it.
Yeah.
And I like Mark singing on it as well. That's good. It's nice that it's a song that's actually, it's about something. You know what I mean? I remember writing the lyrics and it was clearly about sort of like hanging out and going down the pub, you know, like we used to the legendary Derby scene pub, the Blessington Carriage,
Yeah.
which, unlike CBGB's, is still there, kids. So you can go and visit it and see where it all happened.
Yeah.
Can't you?
You can't smoke in there anymore.
You can't smoke in there anymore. But yeah, we spent many, many, many nights in there, usually having quite a good time. But, you know, the lyrics are partly about the unobtainability of the barmaid and various other things, really. And there's a line about the Jeep outside the Jeep boys. I remember I couldn't get the word Landy to scan. So we used to drive around in a Land Rover. Hi,
Yeah.
Dick.
Hi
So
there, Dick.
I substituted it for Jeep, the Jeep
Right.
boys, and we had a bath before we went out. You see, to make ourselves
Who did?
smell good. Well, no, that's the lyrics. You know, the lyrics outside the Jeep boys.
What a laugh.
Yeah, something at a bath or something.
Yeah. I mean, in the way that my first thought with the Twinkie song was Stooges much. With Double Diamond, it's got to be Pavement much.
Yeah.
I think we tried to rewrite an old song called Jill to G, which we talked about on the episode Obsolete Sunday.
Mm.
And I think that was a blatant attempt to write another song that sounds like Jill to G.
A bit Jill to G.
A
bit
Jill to G.
jerky, a bit kind
jerky.
of lurky. Yeah.
And it's got that sort of like fade out instrumental, not a fade out, but it's got that long instrumental section where it sounds a bit like the Pixies song Number 13, Baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do love that.
Yeah, it's a great song, which is why we tried to write it on Double Diamond and Jill to G.
I remember when we went to see them.
Yeah.
When I went with you to see them at Rock City, and they played that, and I really have got, it's like one of those memories that I've got of a gig that like is like really ingrained in my brain, that whole gig. But that song in particular, and it felt like they were kind of like taking off at that point.
They had a really impressive light show
Yeah.
for those days, and I remember on the play out bit of that song, it just became like a sky and loads of clouds.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful. And it went, I never wanted them to stop playing it.
No, I know. And they extended that bit, didn't they? And it was
it's
so
so
good. And it really it's just so amazing. Anyway, I quite like the way that song, Double Diamond, I quite also like the way it goes back to the start at the end. I didn't used to like that. I just think that was a bit of an annoying thing. But actually now I listen to it again, I think it kind of works. It's quite good.
Do you think it's saying something about the inevitability of we've gone to the Bless and we've had a bad night, but we're going to go back again?
We're going to go do it again, yeah.
It's like the infinite trips to the Blessington Carriage.
Absolutely. And Double Diamond, the title is from a brand of beer.
Yep.
That was a local brewery, certainly to our area of the East Midlands. But ironically, they didn't serve Double Diamond at the Blessington Carriage. Certainly not while we were going there.
No, they probably stopped serving it everywhere by the time we were going to pubs.
Yeah, exactly. But I just like the name, Double Diamond. I thought it was a good name. Have you got anything else you want to say about Double Diamond?
No, apart from the last time I heard from Mike Landucci.
When was the last time you heard from
I mean,
Mike
it was
Landucci?
a long time ago, because he sent us a very heavy package of records for us, all the way from the US of A. And then a couple of months later, he got in touch to say, do you want the rest of the records that I've got? Because he sold some, and then he sent some to us. He said, I'm not going to be able to do anything with them, so you might as well have them. And we said, no. He just wanted us to pay him the postage.
Right.
And I remember we said no.
It wasn't a particularly good record. That's why it was not a great one. It was one of our finest recordings. I didn't like the packaging either.
Well, the packaging was fine. We didn't have to pay anything for it. He pressed us up some records. If you're listening, Mike, thank you very much. But yeah, the recordings, we recorded them all pretty much live on 4-track. So some of them were quite loud, and then we did a couple of pretty perfunctory versions of old Johnny Domino songs, and there's some all right stuff on it.
Have we played any of it on this podcast?
We played Monkey Nuts, and we talked about the song Drunken Master and the artist, and New Pink Shirt, which were done in not as good versions.
Yeah, they weren't as good versions.
No.
So that's why we didn't want it, because they weren't as good versions of like previous songs that we'd already done better.
Yeah. But that song's all right.
That song was good. Was that this version that was actually on the Mike Landucci vinyl?
It was, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounded right. We should have probably got those records.
I think it's probably side 2, track 1.
Oh, well. Probably been turned into vases or something.
Probably just smashed them all because those limey cocksuckers didn't want his record.
Yeah, okay.
So we have reached the end of the podcast, on which we heard songs featuring Fish by The Usual Rosie, Gaviscon by Johnny Domino. Is that the title?
Gaviscon Double Action.
Then we heard Twinkie, Ooh Ruby Shmoo, and Double Diamond by the Johnny Domino Band. At the end of each episode of the podcast, we choose one song to go onto a future Best of This Are Johnny Domino compilation. So I think the three that are under consideration are possibly Fish by The Usual Rosie.
Yeah. What do you think?
No. The Gaviscon song.
Yeah.
We say yes. And Double Diamond. And we say maybe.
Yeah, well, it's a double bill, isn't it? I think.
Is it Double Domino?
It's a double domino, double bill. I like both of those songs. I think we should include Gaviscon. And I think we're going to write at least another song before the next very best of comes out.
Okay.
I'm setting that challenge right there because it's good to have some new stuff on there. And I think Double Diamond, is up for contention as well because I quite liked it.
Put it in the subs pile. Excellent stuff. Thank you for listening to the This Are Johnny Domino podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, please share.
It's not the end. It's not the end yet. Just pause it there for a minute. Just hold on. There's a few loose ends to tie up, I think. A few loose ends. And I don't want to just leave it. Last episode, I mentioned a book that I've been reading called Street Level Superstar, A Year with Lawrence by Will Hodgkinson.
Yeah.
You might remember I mentioned it. I finished it. It's a beautiful book. I just want to sort of reiterate what a great book it is. And I think it's only in hardback at the moment, but I think, it will obviously be out in paperback. And when, you should definitely read it, people. If you don't really dig Lawrence or Felt or Go-Kart Mozart or Denim or all that kind of stuff, don't let that put you off, really. I think it's a really well-written book. It describes a man who is simultaneously very annoying and frustrating, who constantly seems to be putting things in the way of his own success, but I don't think he's doing it intentionally. And you shouldn't really like or sympathize him, really, if you sort of like, if you think about it, but you do. And I kind of want to be his friend at the end of it, though he doesn't really have any friends and he doesn't like friends. And, it's a portrait of it is a portrait of an artist, really. It's a portrait of an artist with a vision, and it's an unpopular vision, but it is a vision nonetheless. And he has kind of made the ultimate sacrifice in the form of like having relationships and his health, but he's still there and he still believes and he's still doing it. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, Primitive Painters is like a wonderful, sublime noise of a song. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's by Felt, by the way, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
And his other stuff it's interesting. It's interesting. So, yeah, definitely read that. And the other thing I've been getting into on a different tack was the Beastie Boys documentary, Beastie Boys Story, which is on Apple TV only, I think, at the moment. And it was directed by Spike Jonze. And it's really great. I mean, it's about three friends, really. And it's got some really lovely footage of them as young teens playing hardcore punk and pretending to be Run DMC. And the fact is, you know, they always stuck together. They didn't get big and then sort of like split up or whatever. They took the whole ride together, as it says in the documentary. And I think that's a cool thing. Who's your favourite Beastie Boy, Steve?
Ad Rock.
Ad Rock is good. I have to say MCA is my man.
MCA is, you know, he's the spiritual leader.
Yauk is the guy, isn't he?
He's the boy.
And the bass playing. Jeez, man. That guy was a good bass player.
Great bass player.
And I actually, you know, when I was in New York, I did go to Beastie Boys Square, which is on Ludlow Street and Rivington in New York City. And there's a good mural of them. And it's kind of the area that they grew up. And it's kind of cool. It was nice to go there. Yeah. There was a big mattress leaning up against their mural.
Okay.
Behind some bins.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
It was not part of it, but it kind of added something. Yeah. I thought it was like an installation.
It's a good program. I remember watching that. Have you seen the last ever performance they did? It's the Bonnaroo Music Festival.
No, I haven't.
It's amazing. I think it was an anniversary after, obviously, MCA died, and they put it up on YouTube for like a weekend. So myself and my wife, we watched it and we thought, we'll watch a bit of it. And you go, oh, let's just see what they do next. Oh, let's see what they do next. Well, I love this song. Let's see what they do next. And we just watched the whole thing. And it's an absolute joy. And I think it's on YouTube permanently now.
Oh, okay, cool.
If I can find it, I'll send it to you because it is brilliant.
I'm going through a bit of a Beastie Boys phase now.
Yeah, it's a shame that Spike Jonze thing is only on Apple because not many people have it. But no, it's good. And if you get a free trial of Apple, it's definitely one of the things you can watch.
There's other things to watch on there. White Lotus.
The Velvet Underground film. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, you could rinse it in a weekend, you'd be sorted.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else we need to talk about, Steve?
I don't think so, no. But just to underline the fact, the underlying desperate need for engagement. If you've got old music that you've recorded back in your youth and you want it broadcasting on the podcast and you want us to listen to it, please send it to us. And if it's on cassette, that is not a barrier to engaging. You can just send it to me and I've got a tape deck. We have got the product placement engagement opportunity.
Yeah, write a song.
Write a song about a product that you love and or hate, or something that you love and or hate.
Yeah.
Great. Just vent it. That'd be fantastic. If you want to write a jingle to go with Wilbraham's wonderful jingle for the Derby music scene segment, please send it through to us. If you've got any music that might be brand new that you're working on and you want us to talk about, that'd be great. And if you know of any Derby music bands that we should be talking about, either because you thought they were great or because you thought they were shit, send us notice and we'll track them down and we'll include some stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right. I think that's it. Until next time, Steve.
A bientôt.
A bientôt, mon cher.